When we claim to care deeply about someone, we're not usually seeing the actual person in front of us with clear eyes. What really happens is much more hidden, much less aware. We start creating a picture in our thoughts, piece by piece, about who we believe this person might be, or to put it more honestly, who we want them to be. We place onto them our wishes, our worries, our hopes, and even our past hurts that never healed. We make them into a reflection of what we imagine. By doing this, we don't fall for them, but for the figure we've slowly built inside our own heads. Consider those first moments when you feel drawn to someone. You cross paths with them, and right away, your thoughts enter. That small thing about how they smile, how they glance your way, or how they talk becomes an opening where you start picturing everything else about them. You complete the empty spaces with daydreams. Maybe they'll always get you. Maybe they'll never cause you pain. Maybe they'll become everything you've been looking for. Before you know it, you're not connecting with the actual real person standing there, but with the mental image you've painted. This represents the trick of seeing what we want to see. It feels powerful because it makes caring feel like magic, as if a fantasy became actual. It lets us feel not just the other person, but our own wants bouncing back toward us. We gaze at them and notice hope, charm, flawlessness, even rescue. Yet none of this reflects their true self. It reflects the tale we've written, the figure we've made up, and the disguise we demand they put on to keep our daydream feeling genuine. Here's the strange part. While we're certain we care about them strongly, we're actually pushing away the chance for honest connection. Real caring can't live where such tricks exist. When we're tied to these false pictures, we're only caring about ourselves, our own wishes, our own perfect ideas wearing the shape of someone else. Slowly, the flaws start appearing. The figure can't follow the plan anymore. The real person under the disguise shows who they are. And we must face the fact that they're not the picture we fell for. Most of us fight against accepting this. We hold on to the daydream even harder. We attempt to remold the person to squeeze back into the part. We insist they behave based on the tale we created in our minds. We get upset when they change direction, when they display parts we never pictured, when they show problems we didn't write into the story. During these times, we're not truly seeing them. We notice our own false picture falling apart. Can you understand how sad this is? The real human, with all their layers and honesty, stands directly in front of us. Still, we can't see them because we're so focused on the made-up version we like better. When you look carefully, you'll understand this isn't real caring. It's holding onto a thought. It's being stuck on a part someone plays. This explains why connections often struggle. Not because people can't care, but because they mix up fantasy with what's real. They confuse their false pictures with facts. They think they care about a person's spirit, when really they care about a figure they created themselves. Waking up to this trick feels hard, even hurtful, because it makes us confess that most of what we named as caring was just our wants reflected back. Yet it also opens the door to something much stronger. Only after you see the figure you made up can you start releasing it. Only then can you look with clear vision at the living person in front of you. At that point, caring starts changing. It stops being a wish for someone perfect. It stops being the chase for someone who'll finish your tale. It turns into two real people meeting, your reality and theirs, with no twisting, no disguises. That's where honest caring grows roots. The trick of false pictures might seem comfortable and known, but it traps you. Stepping away from it means you might feel let down. You'll face things that aren't perfect. You'll notice the other person isn't the flawless figure you pictured, but a real human, just as easily hurt and incomplete as you are. Still, through this understanding, caring becomes genuine. Only when we quit caring about the figure we invented can we start caring about the person who's actually here. When you develop feelings for someone's image instead of their true self, you're heading toward a crash between fantasy and reality. In the beginning, the trick can feel amazing because it seems like everything matches exactly what you wanted. The other person appears to belong in your tale as if they were placed in your world to fill the exact spot you've been hoping for. But here's the reality. Nobody can keep up that kind of perfect picture. Nobody can match the flawless figure you built in your thoughts. Eventually, the problems start showing up. This is what makes putting someone on a pedestal dangerous. It puts impossible pressure on another real person. You want them to always show kindness, always have patience, always show understanding, always meet your needs without you saying them. You wish for them to rescue you, to be your partner, your friend, the perfect match who never messes up. Since you're so wrapped up in the tale, you miss the small clues showing they're actually just as human as you are, filled with opposite feelings, doubts, and flaws. As time passes, the person starts falling out of the part you assigned them. They mention something that doesn't match the plan. They behave in ways that seem off from the figure you've been caring about.
They show parts of themselves you didn't expect.
Annoyances, problems, maybe even soft spots you didn't want to see. Right then, the fantasy you held onto starts breaking down. For many people, this is when caring feels weak. Reality hits hard. You believe they've transformed when actually they stayed the same all along. What transformed is how you see them. The false lens that once showed them as perfect can't cover up their real self anymore. If your feelings only existed for the figure you made up, feeling let down can't be avoided. You start feeling bitter toward them for not matching your imagination, for not being the perfect figure you once admired. But notice what's truly going on. You're not let down by them. You're let down because reality couldn't keep your fantasy alive. You're mourning the loss of a trick, not the actual person. This explains why so many connections fall apart at this point. Not because caring was impossible, but because caring was never directed at the real person from the start. When you place someone on a pedestal, you add conditions to caring. You're saying, I care about you only if you stay the person I imagined. I care about you only if you don't leave the part I gave you. I care about you only if you match the fantasy I built in my head. That's not genuine caring. It's owning a story. The story must fall apart eventually. The risk comes when this breakdown occurs and many people leave. They look for someone else who can fill the part better, another person they can place their fantasy onto once more. So the pattern repeats itself, the rush of false pictures, the powerful feeling of illusion, facing reality, the letdown, then hunting for someone new. Caring becomes a cycle that keeps spinning, not because caring can't work, but because fantasy keeps getting confused with real caring. True caring demands you escape this trap of perfect pictures. It means letting the other person be completely human, not pushing them into the tight part your imagination created. It means viewing them not as perfect, but as real, able to make errors, able to cause pain, able to misread you, but still deserving of care. It means trading the wish for perfection for accepting reality. While that might sound less exciting, less magical, it's truly much more wonderful. When you care about someone for their true self, without the disguise, without the script, without the fantasy, your feelings become stronger. They no longer depend on not being disappointed. They're built on truth, not tricks. Putting someone on a pedestal stops you from seeing this chance. It makes you run after shadows, thinking they're something solid. It makes you think you're in love when you're really just in love with your own reflection. But when you release this, when you let the other person step off the high place, you create space to meet something genuine. That reality, though not perfect, is the only foundation where true caring can actually develop. Genuine caring doesn't start with daydreams. It starts when you let yourself notice another person exactly as they exist, without the disguises, without the tales, without the figure you've been attempting to make them become. This isn't simple because thoughts are so fast to put people on pedestals, so fast to see what we want, so ready to create a version of someone that seems secure, that seems flawless, that seems like it won't ever let us down. Yet caring isn't about feeling secure. Caring isn't about being in charge. Caring is about connecting with another real human in their honest, unfiltered state and declaring, yes, I notice you and I care about you still. When the tricks drop away, there's usually a time of surprise. The person you believed you understood isn't exactly who you pictured. Their problems get easier to spot, their opposing sides more clear, their human nature impossible to deny. At that time, you're handed a decision. You can walk away. Go back into the ease of fantasy. Hunt for someone different who can briefly play the part of the figure you keep creating. Or you can remain, look with full vision, and decide to care about the reality rather than the wish. This is when caring grows up, when it moves from being infatuated to something stronger. Accepting another person as they exist means welcoming not just their attractive side, but their darker side too. It means you quit asking for perfection and begin valuing imperfection. It means you stop asking them to finish you, to rescue you, or to constantly satisfy your hopes. Rather, you start respecting the fact that they're their own person with their own problems, worries, and battles. Your caring stops being about owning and becomes about being present. Caring authentically means releasing your grip. You quit attempting to mold the other person into the figure you created, and you let them simply be in their wholeness. You pay attention more, not to support your own tale about them, but to truly understand who they are. You quit attempting to shape them into your daydream. Rather, you become ready to feel surprised, tested, even shaken by their reality. Through this letting go, something amazing takes place. Caring comes to life. It lives because it's not stiff anymore, not trapped by the weak framework of a trick. It moves freely because it stands on truth. Within this truth, you find closeness of a totally different type. You start noticing that caring isn't about gripping a perfect picture, but about moving with imperfection. It's not about hunting for certainty, but about welcoming the unknown. It's not about insisting the other person never transforms, but about traveling beside them as they do. Real caring makes you humble, because it shows that what you believed you required from the other person was just a mirror of your own wants. It tears away the fantasy of being completed and reveals that nobody can ever become the flawless figure you once pictured. Yet within that humble place, caring gets deeper. You stop gripping tricks. You face what's genuine. There's tremendous wonder in this. When you gaze at someone and notice them, not as the figure you created, but as they actually exist, you start caring in a way that has no conditions. You're not declaring anymore, I care about you because you match my tale. You're declaring, I care about you, even when you don't. That change marks the beginning of real bonding, because it's not based on fantasy, but on welcoming them fully. Waking up to real caring means setting free both yourself and the other person from the jail of false pictures. It lets you quit living with constant letdowns, because you're not running after something impossible anymore. It lets you feel the happiness of partnership, not with a wish, but with a living, breathing, real human. When two people connect with each other this way, without tricks, without disguises, without assigned parts, caring changes into something holy, something that doesn't break under the heaviness of hopes, but rather develops through the ground of reality. Caring becomes genuine the second you quit caring about the figure you created and start caring about the person who existed there from the beginning.